All right. So this is Rust Belt Bastards. This is our first time podcast, and I'm Matt.
I'm Jay.
And we're Rust Belt Bastards. So we're gonna get.
I am a
shot.
bastard. I grew up. My father left me, so I guess that is.
I can understand why.
That's a slight poke at me. He's making fun of me. It's all right.
That's right. My mom left me too. Where are you gonna bring up the memories? Oh. All right.
Not by choice.
Wow, way to rub it in.
Jeez,
I wasn't going to go and tell them and everything.
My dad has another family. Dad, if you're out there, Jeffrey Moore, go suck a big fat cock. Nothing against gay people. Go suck a horse's cock. There we go.
Fall in a pit of dicks, ass first.
Nothing against bestiality either, for those of you who like bestiality.
Oh, boy. And 30 seconds in, and we're already talking about bestiality and horse fucking.
It's good times.
Wow, okay. So we want to talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, and as you all know, he was pronounced innocent in a jury of his peers. And my first point on this, right?
He is probably celebrating fucking an animal right now.
I got nothing.
Go ahead, bring it up.
Yeah, all right. So the one thing I find really ridiculous is basically the mainstream media just coming out and saying he's a white supremacist when race isn't even involved in the situation, right? And the fact that, you know, the premise of him being there, you can argue all day long, right? Mm-hmm. That he shouldn't have been there, right? You know, stay in your house when you've got mean people on the streets rioting and looting.
It's quite a smarter way to go.
Exactly, right? And
so even though you got off and you're innocent, Kyle, you're a fucking retard. Can we say?
But that doesn't make him guilty.
Mentally
that doesn't make him guilty.
Either. Jesus Christ, I can't say anything.
Thanks, you two, censoring dickheads. But yeah, so
terrible.
You were awful.
I am so not PC.
You need a timeout. You need a timeout.
Go ahead. But you think his mom picks him up? His mom dropped him off, right? His mom dropped him off.
No.
Yes.
So
she did. She drove him. I heard. I don't believe anything from the latest news. His mom drove him there.
I don't believe anything the mainstream media says.
No, I'm serious though.
Okay, but we can't corroborate that, right?
Face.
Like, I don't know. So, you're really throwing me here, bro. You're really throwing me.
Go ahead.
So the interesting part is the fact that the mainstream media is basically saying that he's a white supremacist, you know, he's some hateful alt-right winger and things like that. It's insulting, right? And he should just
to those who are racist.
Well,
you got that was good.
Yeah.
Okay, no, but it's
you're like Jimmy Fallon on SNL. You always break character and you just laugh through the whole damn thing, and you're not even funny.
No, it is a serious case.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem is the media isn't being held accountable. So what they're doing is
right.
they're just piling on top of just false narrative of all these things, and it propagates more of it, and you have a certain percentage of the population that's going to believe what the media says, no matter what you do.
It's like 90% because they're jackasses.
Right.
They can't think for themselves.
and that leads me to the point that I was making of this one was the fact that if you're still watching the mainstream media and believing at least remotely parts of it, you'll believe anything at this point. So it's actually really sad. But that's the state, I think, of our country right now, especially when it comes to mainstream media, that it's just deplorable, right? And these people, including these people that are calling him white supremacist,
right, should
be held liable, right, in some form or fashion. And I get it gets to the censoring and the disinformation, but at the same point, when you have such a massive scope of the mainstream media that puts 90% of the information out there to the public, and it's all lies, you're now deviating from the norm that is the truth all entirely. and it makes it a really huge issue to actually what is the truth to get out there, because that is being censored.
Yeah, it is. With everything right now, from the media.
Yeah.
Both sides. My take on the Kyle Rittenhouse was, there's a few things from when I take a look at it because of the part of actually being responsible, having a gun. You know, it's like.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because how he came to acquire the
how he came to acquire. There are a lot of questionable.
Yeah.
There are a lot of questionable things.
Yeah.
That lead up to him getting the gun, but still doesn't have to do with the case.
Right.
It does have to do with the case itself, but not the shooting itself.
Right. Yeah.
That's hard to fucking. So that's hard to say too, because it's like he was 17.
Right.
Right. And he needed to be 18 for that gun to purchase that gun. Right?
Correct. I believe so. Yes.
So that's what I was reading and what people are having a hard time with on why he's not guilty for anything right now is, and that also this could be due to how the lawyers brought up the case too. They would have swung in a different way.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you got to think of it like driving with a suspended license or driving without a license. Mm-hmm. Like. Mm-hmm. I'm driving somewhere. I'm in a license and like I get in a car accident. Right. Like, guess what's going to happen to me? Especially if I'm of age.
Yeah.
If I'm of age, if I'm like 17, 18, I get in an accident and I don't have a license or anything. I'm not supposed to have the vehicle.
Right.
Yeah. And like, that's the hard part.
At a minimum, you shouldn't be driving it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I shouldn't have been out there, and I shouldn't have had it.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's the main consensus.
That's where, I can see people upset with this because it's like this jackass, and this is where he's not. He wasn't, to me. He wasn't responsible. Well, he wasn't responsible on part of even having a gun and being out there.
Right. Okay.
So. If I got in an accident and all that shit happened, guess who's gonna be paying a fine? And if you're 17, guess where I'm going?
Right. The parents are responsible.
The parents are responsible, but I'm gonna be responsible at 17.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to jail.
Yeah.
Or somewhere to where for me, it's like, there are 3 people killed, and I'm not. There's a lot of. That goes into the 3 people being killed, shot.
Right, yeah.
But there should be something that should happen to him instead of just
understood
going home.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah.
Because if you can do that,
it comes down to parenting across the country.
Well, it does.
Right,
But like, not even that.
And
but
also,
he's 17. He's fucking. Like, he knows what he's doing, though.
Well, it also,
like the hard part.
Well, it also goes to, I think it's a little bit of his naivety. Right. I think it went to his a little bit of, because one of my other buddies were like, well, he wanted to go out and there be Rambo and stuff. So there's a little bit of that, maybe. There's a little bit of that, right?
But there's that with him and the other people at that. Yeah. Not everybody. But again, because there was some peaceful protesting going on, too.
Yeah.
But there were people there besides him on both sides.
But as soon as the sun goes down, that there's people that are going to inflame the crowd and inflame people. And then there's other people that are going to interject in that, let's face it, are criminals. Because he could have shot in 360-degree directions and would have hit a criminal.
Which I'm surprised he didn't, because the big thing, too, is the lack of training with the gun.
Well, and that goes to another point where there needs to be, I believe, at least across the country, there needs to be some level of firearm training and also normalizing gun ownership, because that's a Second Amendment right. And you look at where Australia's at, and I know we're getting a little bit off topic, but it does come to the Second Amendment, which is key to what this case represented.
Suck to be them right now.
Dude, yes. Well, they had a gun buyback in the 90s, and there's a lot of similarities where if you remove the Second Amendment, there's nothing to stop the government from rolling up into your subdivision and being like, okay, we're going to put you in camps,
We're gonna
right?
do this or do this.
And I know that's absolutely extreme,
Right.
but when you have Australia saying, well, we've got COVID camps ready for 2022, summer of, and you're just like, what?
Make it sound like a retreat.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
Like a med retreat.
So
would that be the shit if you go there? They live on an island
hey, hop in
anyways.
this boxcar, you're going to a vacation.
I'm like, nice.
It's like Yosemite Sam telling Bugs Bunny, hey, hop in this oven right now. We're gonna cook ya. Okay, duck. It's like, Jesus Christ, man.
So back on.
Yeah. But stepping away from that, I think I agree that the consensus is he shouldn't have been there.
Right.
But as soon as you get to a point where you're at a point where, okay, now he is there, and these people are surrounding him and threatening him, what does he do? And he and here's the thing, he did cross state lines, obviously, because he lives in a neighboring town between the two states of Wisconsin and I think Illinois.
Right.
And so what he did was he crossed over, I think, then met up with a buddy to acquire, I think, the gun, then went into Kenosha, I believe, if I'm not correct. Because that's why I think they dropped the gun charge originally, right? Once they got the facts out of where he acquired the gun, how he acquired the gun, it was just, I think that's, but again, that goes to more
and that can
media.
raise why people question
absolutely.
his motives too.
And
it's
again,
like
I'm all about open dialogue, and I'm all about questioning, like, hey, why was that law in the place to begin with? Oh, it's because of reasons like this or scenarios like this that could result. Okay,
it's
fine,
like buying
right?
alcohol.
Yeah, but then
like we all went around a different way to try to get alcohol.
Oh God knows
when we were younger.
Let's not go there.
But like, so and the big part of it too is. Because I think you've read more.
I've read up on this case and watched a lot of it.
Like what I've watched of it, and then what an article I read about everything that happened was, and at one point when it goes with the topic of, and this goes with the first person he shot, where it's questionable. Like, hear me out. Like, wait a minute, it's fucking questionable.
Right?
Because here's the part. So somebody fired a shot, right?
Yeah, correct.
And that's where the hard part is.
The shot came
and
from.
So someone's coming after you, and like you hear a shot, it's like, oh, fuck.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, but
that's where he shot.
Yeah.
You know, that guy's chasing him.
Right.
He feels endangered. Somebody shoots.
You don't know
your
where...
first thought is like, fuck, he's shooting him.
Yeah.
And so he turns and shoots, but then that also goes back with the lack of training as well. It does.
Yeah, but I will say, for how lack of training I'm sure he probably has had with that gun, and not only with guns in general.
Right.
He surprisingly, I didn't see any other scenario where he was going to come out alive had he not done what he done, right? Because of the things.
So when the first person was going to... This is.
Do you know the context behind the interaction?
So the first person, I know that he was that day released from a mental ward institution.
That's what I understand. And then also he was in the crowd of people shouting the N-word at black folks,
right? And
just being erratic and crazy. And he
literally was like, "Hey, I'm white like you." So
well, no, he's like, "You colorblind? You like, colorblind, son?" Because I'm a white guy. Why are you calling me that?
I know it's darker outside, but
it's even dusk, so I don't know what you're talking about. But seriously, when you get back to it, and that's why when the prosecution started bringing things up, that those witnesses actually helped the defense more than the prosecution, because the context in which the interactions all took place. We're all of self-defense, right? And so the context leading up with Rosenbaum to that interaction where he shot him needed to be said and needed to be heard in court, because he was threatening people's lives. He was like, come on, kill me, fucker, right? And
he's threatening his own life.
Well, yeah, exactly, exactly.
But
it doesn't mean he deserved to get shot. But at the same time, when you threaten somebody else's life, and there's a prior context earlier that day where he said, hey, I'm going to effing kill you if I run across you again, or something to that effect. And then you're right. The context of, oh, another guy shot a fire into the air, right? And then he turns around and he reaches for the barrel of his gun, and he doesn't know where the shot came from, thinking it came from Rosenbaum. and the prior time contextual threats
Rosenbaum
shot him.
So
right?
How do you say
Rosenbaum, I think.
Rosen
Yeah, he's
dead?
yeah, Rosen dead.
So terrible.
And I hate to say
just-
it, but society's better off for it. I know that's a harsh thing to say.
Here's
but
the hard thing with. So we go back to excessive force, right? And you got to be. So it'd be like me and you in a conflict, right? You have a gun.
In my pants.
His last name is Green. It's called the Green Monster, ladies. It's like the Incredible Hulk.
Hey, just because you're hung like a horse doesn't mean I have to do porn, okay? Seriously.
But so here's the part. I don't know the distance away that he was away from him.
Rosamund?
Yes.
It sounds like he was reaching for the barrel of a gun, so within kicking or
within kicking
hand striking distance.
Which is.
And he said friendly, 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 and was retreating.
Right.
So at that point, Rosenbaum did everything he could to I'll say reduce the threat or reduce or what's the term, de-escalate the situation.
Right.
So he's like, hey, look, I'm not a bad guy, right? And so unfortunately that's how it played out because of the shot in the air of the other guy.
Right, and then he hears that, turns around and
that,
which to me is still like the training part of it, and then also the force part of it.
What do you mean by the
force
training part?
Because
are you gonna have X-ray sensory perception to know where the gunshot came from? Would you get echoes around buildings and things like that?
Like Daredevil?
That actually movie was pretty good for its time.
For its time. Even though the shitty acting, the cool.
Oh yeah.
The cool aspects. So here's the part. Is if I'm advancing towards you and you have right. Granted, heard a good fire off.
Right.
His first thought was probably fuck this person.
Rosenbaum's probably the one firing.
So, it's unfortunate that Rosenbaum isn't still alive because he could testify too on what he was doing.
Yeah.
Granted, still he is like aggressing him.
Yeah.
Which is fucking dumb.
And I'm not even sure if he'd be a credible witness. I mean,
so if you're coming at me and I have a gun,
yeah.
Like even if your fist is coming towards me, it's like at that part, do you feel like your life is in danger? Like it's hard.
It's the context of the other guy firing the shot in the air.
Right.
I think was
and that's
really
why
key,
because like if you look at,
but also Rittenhouse was a smaller kid too. Like you got to look
still,
at other
like
cases.
Legally wise,
like
so I do tactical training with threat management, Detroit Urban Survival Training. There's a plug right there for you guys. So when a person's coming in, that's a hard part because it's still I don't have a lethal weapon. That person is older. I have a gun.
Right.
Like there's other things that you could possibly do.
Yeah.
That's where it really gets questionable for me because that person doesn't have a knife. He doesn't have a gun.
Right.
And that's where, honestly, Kyle was lucky that he got off because the other two shootings, I feel are more justifiable because of self-defense because of the video itself. The video.
It's clear as day.
It's clear as day. Like
kicked in the head.
Yeah.
Hit in the head by a skateboard. And then the third guy pulls a gun on him.
So
ready
those
to fire.
are all justified, but there's that question that lingers in the air for me, and that's where I say it's unfortunate that he's passed away, Rosamund, because you don't get two sides of the story. Yeah. Here's like, for instance, what if he's
I kind of think you do. I think you're giving way too much credit to the Rosenbaum guy.
Maybe
he's unstable.
He is unstable.
I get what you're saying, right?
But that's
where is the point where it's like,
but
it's all contextual, and then also it's also personal fear, right? Like I'll be honest, I'm a little bit higher strung. You've got tactical training to where in certain situations you'd be a lot more calm in those same situations I might be in. So my threshold is lower.
Your threshold's lower
for me to pull the trigger versus maybe you, right? Because you're able to defend yourself easier.
Like law wise, it's like it states like that's the hard part is like that person doesn't you can have a gun and I could punch you 2 or 3 times.
Right.
By you just pulling out a gun,
yeah,
you could be charged.
Yeah. No, I would believe that if you can't get a jury to believe that you were in threat for your life, because there are people that said, "I'm afraid for my life. I'm afraid for my life," and then they know they're on camera.
Yeah.
So what do? They feel like that statement is a get out of jail free to say, "Oh, self defense, bang." Right. So I know exactly where you're coming from and what point you're trying to make.
That's the toss up of the jury,
and that's
because
that
first part, one, it's like, what could you like? It's
but given the
it's hard that it's like that because it's like, so at what point can I fucking defend myself with the weapon? Which is true. It's I could get the shit bit out of me, but then like if I pull my gun out and it shoots you, I could still go for jail for it because it's excessive. It goes with it looks at the force you were using which I was using.
Right.
So that's like law wise.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I don't know, but for me, when I look at that, that's where I see the problem with the first person is.
Right.
But then again, that's also him not understanding the law itself, and also which we're supposed to be responsible for anyways.
Right.
You know, and for me, like if I went out on the streets with a gun, it's like I should really fucking know those.
Yeah.
You know, and he's 17.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, we don't know inside of his head if he wanted to go out like the thrill-seeking part, which part of me feels like. I mean,
it might have been part of it.
I think it was.
I think intent behind it is.
But his intent to kill anybody, I don't think his intent.
Yeah.
I don't think it's his intent.
I could tell by his reactions on the stand and then them reading the not guilty verdict that he seems like a decent kid.
Right.
Naive and kind of, stupid. Sure, maybe. But God, all of us were stupid at 17, right? So you kind of
to where you're like, I'm not gonna bring a gun to the street. It's fucking ridiculous.
So, but he was smart enough to at least say, "Hey, I'm gonna need a gun if I'm gonna go into this area." So that was the only smart thing on his part.
Did he or didn't he?
But again, like I've always said, as soon as you have a gun and it's out, even though you're not pointing at somebody and you have criminals surrounding you, that's inviting challenge.
That is,
right?
But and then, like, you got to look at too. And this is.
But again, we're back to the Old West, right? And that's what the Old West is.
And then, like, also, here's the hard part too. You know, those people are out there protecting property, right? Mm-hmm. Which, by all means, like, you know, if you're seeing your town being burnt down, at what point do you like, hey, that I'm protecting this spot? Mm-hmm. But then again, like, I still don't think he knows this part either. Like, if you're protecting a piece of property. That and like somebody firebombs a building that you're in front of, right? Mm-hmm. That still doesn't justify you to shoot them. Did you know that? It doesn't.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
My dog is trying to get a ball and he's totally distracting me.
No, that's all right.
Get your toy, bud. Get your toy. Come here.
It doesn't. Like I could go up to your car and bash the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not endangering you. Now, if you're in your car, there's different circumstances.
I think
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard, man, because you got all these toss-ups.
Yeah, like, I think that's for almost another podcast point, right? To research gun laws, and you got to almost reach them at a federal level, and then research them at a state level to understand.
Because they're all different with the state level.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So
because,
I looked at,
for example, Alabama, you don't even need a license to have a concealed carry.
Right.
It's just because my buddy lives in Alabama, and he's like, hey man, you don't need a license for nothing down here.
And open carry in Wisconsin.
Is it?
It's open.
Right.
You can walk around.
That's
so
right.
those people, it's not like
Ohio's thinking about repealing their concealed carry for concealed carry. You no longer will need a license. I think that's coming up, and I'm okay for all these laws because you're coming full circle to say now I'm going to normalize carrying a gun. People are going to get used to seeing normal, good, law-abiding citizens carrying firearms, and I'm okay with that because you look at the invitation that the government.
But then you'll see. Do you think you'll see more fuck ups like this though? I mean, like
you'll see both. You'll see more violence, which we've already seen because of the defunding the police. Right? Perfect example. I think it was out in California. I don't know if it was San Francisco area, but there was a Nordstrom's where 80 people ran into a Nordstrom's and just ran out with thousands and thousands of dollars. There was I don't know if it was security,
but
or
still, like you can't shoot them though.
Well,
like,
I don't disagree. I agree. I'm
not
saying that, but I'm saying my point is you're seeing crime, low petty and certain crime. They're just going to be more emboldened to break the laws because they're raising the the bar, or should I say lowering it, to let people commit more acts of crime. So what's it going to do? Just invite more crime. Then you're demonizing police. Then you're defunding the police. What do you expect to happen? So then so then you have kids like Kyle Rittenhouse that are like, hey, even though they have no ill intent, they for whatever reason they're out there for, they want to protect their life and they want to protect their property. And things like this is going to happen. Because you're now saying, okay, there's a huge void that the police aren't filling anymore because the governors and the mayors of these cities and states are saying, nope, we're not going to bring in the National Guard. We're not going to let the police do their job because they basically left because you defunded them, right? So they don't have the forces to deal with the mass amount of people on the streets that are rioting and looting. So you then have a void, right? You have a void in society that police aren't able to fill because their public officials aren't allowing them to fill. Because this is not a blame on police at all. It's a blame on the void of the government that they've created in these local Democrat-ran cities for decades that haven't done that to be able to staff the police. So then there's a void, and now you have, like, I'm not going to say vigilantism because I think that's a strong word because I don't think the intent was there to just go out shooting people. But those scenarios are going to happen again and again. So in each case, hang on, so I'm on a roll here. Each case is going to be a Second Amendment defense. It's going to be a Second Amendment throttle because what the left did here was, because this kid shouldn't even have been prosecuted. It should have been in a hearing. Hang on. So it should have been in a hearing. They would have reviewed all the videos, talked to a couple witnesses, and they would have been like, "Yeah, we've got nothing."
Did he?
Right?
First of all, did he? We'll go back to Kyle for a moment.
Okay.
We'll go back to what you were saying, and it's the hard part because if things go back. Like, everybody's just carrying and like, oh, I got a gun here and there. Like, it's fine, like, if you want to carry. But, like, as a society in general, and this is the responsibility of our government, which both Republican and liberals are not doing. They're not. Like, it's not. Like, if they wanted this to get done, like, one side would speak up on it. And one side, like, shit would change. And I know some conservatives are. I'm not saying that it's everyone. But, like, for me, I don't feel like they're focused on it.
Right.
Either side. I don't think they are. Because for me, it's like you can, change all these laws, have people just open carrying, have them carry without a license.
Right.
But, like, that comes to a tipping point, too, to where it's like, fuck, there's a lot of shit going on. And it's going to be because people are not trained. Cops aren't trained enough themselves.
And that goes back to my point.
Cops aren't. So... For me, my thought process is, well, something has to be done, right? But that focus should be whether government steps in on it and takes over the state level on that decision, which for me...
There's been theories...
For me, I feel they should, because if you're totally dismantling the police, then guess what?
The federal police force is going to come in.
They need to come... They do need to come in. Because
that's what the National Guard is for, but that's at a state level.
That's at a state level.
And I understand where you're coming from.
My thing is, like, I don't think it's going to, by people being able to open carry the weapons everywhere.
Right.
Like, first of all, I don't feel comfortable. Well, hello to all online consuming for everyone. Because, like, I don't feel comfortable taking my daughter anywhere where there's people walking around with guns. You can say I'm protecting shit all day. But like something's gonna fucking happen. How much more did you like walking in a mall without guns everywhere, seeing not security or police, but random people?
I'd be totally okay with it. I'd be totally okay with it. Because people kill people. Guns don't kill people. That's
I understand, but
that's
you're
just the
opening
medium that they use.
But then I think
there's more good people in this world. There's more good
funding
people in this world.
Funding should be put towards, and the focus should be put. Allow people to carry if they want to.
Right.
But the focus should be, we need to get something back in place.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what it is.
We've come to it. Yeah.
And I don't know when that's going to start.
I want to expand on your point.
I don't know when that's going to start.
Yeah. Well, it won't. It won't. So,
maybe. I'm
not very hopeful.
Because, like you said, at state level, when things are getting so bad, look at California.
Yeah. And like I said, they're creating a void. So like you said, instead of people filling that void temporarily, much like what Kyle Rittenhouse did, right?
But then you're gonna get people shooting people.
Agreed.
What if they don't?
I'm not saying it's ideal, but
to where you are gonna
human
change,
nature. Human nature.
Yeah.
Voids get filled by something that we don't want.
Right.
Absolutely, maybe, sometimes not, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a void, either way, it gets filled with something, and it's usually something worse. Because when you have police that are at least decently trained, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have them than somebody like a Kyle Rittenhouse going to defend property. I'd rather have police on the streets containing the situation.
First of all,
so
not all police. Like a lot of majority of guys are really good guys, but the funding that they get to actually train is shit.
Oh yeah.
So like,
their funding's awful.
So it's like,
I mean, hell, they've defunded half of them.
So it's like how it's just. I think it's like a double-edged sword, and that's what it really is, because like you're getting cops rolled out there every day because they need
They're burned out. They're
burned out.
Yeah.
You know, and don't have the training that they should.
So yeah.
And then you look at like civilians, and it's like, well, what training do you have? It's just. It's a sad, slippery slope either way right now.
I agree, but I want to kind of expand on a point you made, which was that you're going to have a federal force of sometimes come in. Well, I think that's what the Democrats want, right? I don't know if you know what they're doing with the Capitol Police. Mm-hmm. They've created stations, and I don't think they've filled them yet. Right. They've created stations in Florida and I think a few other states. I have to do a little bit of research, but I've caught little tidbits of things that people have said where I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, my ears perk up, and I'm like, okay. And what it is the Capitol Police doesn't necessarily have a jurisdiction, so they're basically, the language of their oversight is very ambiguous. So they're like, oh, let's do this. So
you would make it open for them
to police other states,
and make decisions that even state.
But I see that bad because that is now going into your one system, one party rule. Much like the election laws that they wanted to federalize everything and take it away from the states, right? Yeah. That's just an example, but it's the same mantra, the same underlying foundation of what they're trying and wanting to do, and that just makes me really frustrated. And the really problem here is getting back to the Rittenhouse case as opposed to like kind of the policing and the things that we think the direction is headed with the Second Amendment, but I think the prosecution blatantly was trying to get a mistrial. The judge even called them out, like, subliminally on it. He's like, look, you're riding a fine line. He's like, I don't know what you're doing. And then he also called them out on something else. And he was like, oh, well, I was just trying to do this. And he goes, I don't believe you, right? So that tells you that the prosecution had, I believe, malicious intent to try to get some type of mistrial so that they can try to prosecute him again.
Probably because they realized, like, hey... And it's true. It's like
if goes to show that they didn't have a case. That was another point to say that they didn't have a case.
It's like you fucked. Right. Unfortunately, you fucked up.
And this is where I think conservatives need to go on the offense here, right? Because you hear all this lambasting and Kyle Rittenhouse being a white supremacist. These people are pushing that false narrative, that lie, and that's them going on the offense. Them trying Kyle Rittenhouse when it should have never gone to trial in the first place, that's them going on the offense. Now, hang on.
Wait, no, I have a question about it.
Yeah, I know. So hang on. So getting to that point, though, I think the prosecution, we should go on offense and we should say, hey, we want something done about this prosecutor because he lied. In opening statements, lied. Closing arguments, lied, right? And everything that he did was, I felt, malicious.
Isn't that their job?
But you know, I get how you can laugh. I get how you can laugh.
It's sad. Like, no, I know.
And
I know.
And I do find it funny.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is a jury of our peers, and this is our judicial system. When you have people that are in this judicial system at all ranks, and we've seen how feckless the Supreme Court is on certain cases, and I won't get into that.
Because this gets into...
So this is where we need to get people like that held accountable for not doing a respectful job. If Kyle Rittenhouse was guilty by a jury of his peers, and that prosecution had evidence and everything else, and it was a different scenario altogether in a story, I would support that prosecutor. But when you see some of the things that he did in this courtroom... It was a sham. It was a kangaroo court. It was a joke.
Was it? I don't know if this is true.
Because there's other prosecutors that have come out and said, yeah, and it's been under the radar, and obviously it won't make.
So I don't know if this is.
They've said it should have never even gone to trial.
I don't know if this is true or not.
Yeah.
Did he get to pick his jury? Did you hear about that?
Oh no! Oh, okay. So I think what it is
I was like,
I don't know how they
be?
did it. I don't know how they did it.
Wouldn't that be sweet?
Well, I think what they did is I think they put somehow maybe they put 18 to 20 of them names in a basket like bingo.
Okay.
And I think Kyle drew names out, and that's how they got to the final.
Why would you do that?
I don't know what that was about. I don't even want to get into it because I can't even.
For me, go down the wormhole with that one. I mean, that's fishy in general too.
Yeah.
Because what was it? Did he see the people as well beforehand?
I don't know the knowledge behind that.
That's the fucked up thing.
I'm not going to go into it.
But if we're gonna dive into it, which we can dive into it on a different, another podcast, is if it went that route. How fucked up is the judicial system?
Yeah.
Because I have never ever heard.
I've never seen that either, and I don't know what that was.
So what the fuck would be the point of that?
I would be curious.
Because if that was actually
comment if you know, because we the sure hell don't.
I know, seriously, right? That's fucking
B4 bingo. Okay, you're my next juror. Wait, what? It's like a kickball team. They just line up and say, hey, fat kid, you're on my team because you'll block the goal. Really?
What if you're not picked? You're like, fuck, man, I'm left out.
I always got picked last. Goddamn.
First kickball, now jury duty. How much of a loser you got to be not to be picked for jury duty? But no, it is though, because that's a big problem for me. Is first, if he got to pick names out of a hat or fucking
but the prosecution is part of that.
And another part too is what is it? The jury, from what I heard, they were You've done jury duty, right?
Never. But I heard juries. I heard the court does not like engineers because we're very factual. So if it's an open and shut case, or if it's a borderline case, they're like, no, we don't want an engineer. So I've heard that they get acquitted a lot, but I've never gotten jury duty.
You're not missing anything. Then you'll miss $10 an hour with what you get paid. I'll take it because I'm in education and teachers get paid shit. I'm like, let me see. Yeah. Can I make $10 an hour and just hang out all day somewhere, or should I make $25 an hour? And which is sad, but
they're fighting.
Terrible.
Instead of fighting for 15, they now are shooting for we want to shoot for. We're fighting for 25. Inflation, baby, inflation.
But then
you knew that was going to happen.
I knew we were going to get on this topic a little bit.
Yeah.
But so everybody needs to make a living wage. They do, but everybody needs to also. Everybody needs to also fucking get off their ass and stop being lazy and progress themselves to get a better job. Even though I picked a terrible.
That's a you person, not a government problem, right?
So that's not a government problem.
If you want to,
but then we're going into a whole different subject,
okay.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it's cool.
Which is fine because if you look at, we talked a little bit about this before. For that to happen, for an actual livable wage. The institution would have to then, which goes into government control and all
you'd bankrupt them. You'd bankrupt the American people because they'd be paying so much.
They would have to. No, what they would have to. They would have to come out with some kind of not a common standard of housing costs of. I don't know how.
It's regionally different.
Economically, economically. I know the thing is that first of all the socialism part, it's no one wants socialism. We don't want Russia or
except
China.
For the far radical left that are hey,
but
we
then
bankrupt this.
For me, on that part, there's never it goes straight to socialism, which is
just a little skip right to communism.
Which is let's hold off on the socialism part.
Yeah.
And actually for me, when you throw out socialism, that's immediately sticking a wrench into a gear that's not working and just stopping it. Yeah. Instead of figuring out, You know,
What's
what's
actually
wrong? What's
actually
wrong with it?
Yeah.
What can we do? And I don't have these answers either. But I have these questions.
Well, we definitely know who
But
does it. It's called the government.
The government. But the question is, hey, how the fuck can we? How the fuck? And granted, like billionaires should be. There's a reason why Elon Musk is a because you know
they almost should
they
say
deserve
that
it.
there's
But like there has to be some kind of trickle down of whether it's giving employees stock value inside of a stock.
Yeah.
Here, when you look at like McDonald's and shit like that,
Yeah.
like give those employees. I worked at Home Depot when I was younger. Guess what I got? Stock automatically from it. And because the biggest thing is like, we look at our system through the stock market.
Yeah.
And like that's fucking nice and grand and all, but like that doesn't go like people that have a job at McDonald's, like, if they're trying and working their ass off and they're trying to get somewhere, what value does that have to them?
Right.
Like, I understand, like, hey, the stock's coming, then we're making money, but they're not giving, like, give them some fucking stock. Give them something, a bigger option. They can afford it.
Yeah.
To where it's just helping people out.
Yeah.
It's helping people out, but it's not giving them, you're not fucking like, oh, here's a house. Not, here's a car. Oh, here's, like, $50,000 a year. No, you're not doing that. But, like, you're making some kind of effort to actually help them progress financially. Because that's the biggest thing is financially.
Yeah, but they can get money from their paycheck if they pay them more and say, okay, they can choose to buy what stock they want and invest. The problem here is people at the lower portion of income, right? They don't have the knowledge to invest. And then also sometimes this market can be volatile, and then they lose money.
Then they lose it.
And then
so it's providing everybody resources.
They're drawing money out right when it might go back up, right? So because they get nervous.
Yeah.
So
which I've done. I'm like, well, fuck, I should have my money in this.
I've done that once or twice.
I took
but
it out,
it's
and
not
then I was like,
much. But my point is it just you've got to take a look at that from the perspective of, okay, are you enriching them in a way that helps them progress forward? Okay, okay,
what
that's
you
paying
should
them
do.
more.
And like,
but to create stock options for, I mean, I don't even get stock options with Ford, right? I mean, that's it. I just
which in my point you should.
Yeah,
well,
some I think UAW folks do. I think
it's like for me, it's like why should you?
Yeah,
why shouldn't
like
you?
profit
Like
sharing and
they
stuff like
they
that.
should. I'm sorry, the big companies they should do that to their employees. You wouldn't have you would see them financially investing more and that being able to afford.
Yeah, but at a certain point, when are you making decisions for the people or the family to help them progress? As actually them learning themselves to progress.
Well, then
I'm
like
big on
so give them the resources to invest in. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
Like,
disagree.
Like
especially in the inner cities, I absolutely agree with that. Like
There's-
after high school programs that might lead to trades jobs, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a pipe fitter,
Hookers.
whether it's a AC,
catch that one.
or spinner rims. Like, hey, how do you make those?
Do you think there should be escorts? Do you think hooking should be legal?
God knows the whole country.
No, seriously. Do you
well, hang
think
on. So I personally think that
if a woman wants to,
we're already headed there.
If a woman,
I hate to say it.
I was gonna say like, and I don't want to be biased. If a woman, man, a transgender, I don't fucking know.
How many other?
Everyone else out there, if you ever want to sling your goods for money, there we go. Because I was just gonna say sling your pussy.
It's the longest
but I had a friend
profession
that
in
slinged his
history.
dick and like made some goody money off of it. But like, you should. Why not?
Oh gosh, we have gone way derailed.
Which is good. We need to derail a little.
I know,
bit.
right?
We need to lighten up the topic.
If you really, do you want to go down the hooker conversation?
I think we should go down the hooker conversation.
Wow. Okay, hooker rabbit hole. Here we go. so honestly, if our society's already headed there, but I will say this: I think what Joe Biden's administration is doing with the open border and the sex trafficking that's going across is definitely enabling that business to just flourish like crazy, especially when it comes to child
Right.
trafficking in general.
So are you saying that I need to make a career move?
So my point is society's headed there, and the problem is nobody's doing anything about it, right? There might be a lot of people that are, but my point is it's awful, right? Because there are these women and kids that are, victims to it.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting. It's awful, and seeing the left marginalize pedophilia. If you really want to go down this road,
we're gonna go down it, but you got it, dude. It's not just the left; it's both, man.
Dude, the left is literally saying,
which I'm not saying, like, if you open the border,
people.
No,
really?
I understand, like.
And then this guy's a professor, I think, at a college, and he only got suspended, never got fired. But yeah, he's like, we need to talk about minor attracted persons.
But my thing is,
and
like,
I am just.
I hear conservatives.
I'm like, we're done. We're done as a society.
I hear conservatives speaking out about it.
Right.
Which is great. Like, I'm all for that.
Do you hear the left speaking out against it? No, it's just like Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Right?
But here's the craziest thing, though.
It's the same shit. It's the same shit, just bagged differently with a different label on it.
And my hat goes off to the conservative people that are politicians.
And
thank you for going over that.
Fired up right now.
But here's the crazy thing: is like, look at the majority. And it's sad because look at the majority of conservatives that are speaking out to it, who are actually in political seats. Which is like makes me question, man, what the fuck you guys are doing? Like, why? You know what I mean? It's true. Well, I know that someone might.
And it kills me because it comes to the system is failing in order to protect people, particularly girls and younger and kids, right? And so when you look at it, where's that void being filled? You now have sex traffickers trafficking kids across the border, and seeing a lot of this stuff. And then what really pisses me off is, I'm making a really big point here.
Go ahead.
When you have Joe Biden literally sitting at a podium, getting fired up and pissed off at reporters saying that, well, these people lost their children, and I was like, yeah, at the hands of their own fucking issue because they chose to cross the border, which knowingly would split up the adult and the child because they broke the law by crossing into our country illegally, right? They go to a detention center or whatever you have, and they separate the kids out. And the reason why...
And then the kids get taken.
So the reason why is because they are finding out that 30 to 40%, because they rush the DNA results. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Seriously?
Yeah, go ahead. So what they do is they have DNA test runs, and they say, hey, you're not that person, you're not related to that kid. We think you're sex trafficking them. So they sex traffic them, and they have to do these DNA tests to make sure that they're not related.
The camera can still see me. Hey,
absolutely.
I'm looking for a glass.
Are you going to mix a drink now?
You don't have a glass.
Are you trying to get me something to calm the hell down? Because this really pisses me off.
You
and he wants to give these people $450,000.
Right.
More than Gold Star families that have had people die in military interaction. Right? You can make a joke all you want.
No,
but man,
I'm not. No, that's not a joke. It's being serious.
I know, but
it would be like you could use that money to actually progress the citizens that are already in the United States.
And that really, if anything, go to the victims of these sex traffickers, right?
Like I'm not, and so when I'm saying this,
so you're propagating
glasses down here,
the cups behind the picture. They're hidden. Solo cup, I fill you up. It's a party.
Do you want a drink?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. But no, seriously, it just, but in terms of legal prostitution,
right?
Obviously condemning the pedophilia side, right? If a woman is of age or a man is of age, Big House Street Bourbon Whiskey brought to you by Rust Belt Bastards.
Yum.
Yum.
In a solo cup. This is high class.
Our production budget is very, 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 very low.
It's like my job pay.
But no, so
which is my responsibility if I want to get a better job, like we were talking about before, progress myself.
Yeah. So, and I absolutely agree with that because I was raised off you you work for what you get, right?
Yeah.
You earn it. You earn it. You get off your ass. You work hard, and the fact that some things might not go your way that's called life. Just flat out, that's called life.
So
you know. But if these women and these men of age, 18 or older, want to go out and hug, hey man, there is a demand for it. I will tell you right? And so, I mean, God knows, all you gotta do is watch Cops, man. Jeez.
Because, like, if you like having sex,
but
why not get paid?
Everybody, you know. But you look at it from that perspective, and I think they've legalized it in certain areas of Europe, haven't they? I thought they did. Well, obviously the red light district in Amsterdam.
Yeah, in Amsterdam. Right? Have you ever been to Amsterdam?
No, never have.
Europe's a shithole. Why did we never go when we were younger?
I don't know.
You know how much money we spent at bars and shit like that? Where we could have had a trip to Amsterdam and just like lived it up with fucking weed and hookers. Why are you covering your face?
Oh man, I'm telling you, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of a lot of things. No, but seriously. That's a knee slapper. Good Lord.
Well, I've never, which Big House, I've never had this whiskey.
It's pretty good. It's not bad at all.
Good.
So,
it's yummy.
But yeah, so if you really want to get into the prostitution thing, it's the oldest profession, right? So it's not like it hasn't been done before.
Right. It happens.
But they need to regulate it because here's the thing: there's always going to be a demand for it. So guess what happens? It goes underground. It gets hidden from the world.
Or in strip clubs.
Whatever the cover is.
How would anybody know about that?
I know, right? What's the difference, really? You know. Thank you, terrible fathers everywhere. Everywhere.
Could this ruin my job?
Probably both of ours. The hell, I might be fired in 30 days anyway because of the vaccine.
Well, I've gotten a job from a strip club before. This was years ago.
I'm sure you don't want to say that on this.
Too late.
Too late.
Well, we're being open and honest. That's what they want people to be, is open and honest about it, right? Dude, I was
I don't think to a fault. But sure, hey.
I am.
What the hell?
To a fault.
Let's throw this ball down this alley.
Here we go. So, it was when I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Freaking, you get a lap dance and it got boring after a while.
How did it go from lap dance to like rub me raw to where like, hey, can you put your lips on that?
To the rub me raw part. Yeah, because how the fuck you can only take so much
money did you
can only take
lap dances to rub you raw? And nobody wears jeans to a strip club. You wear sweatpants, you fool. You wear a sweatpants. If you're a pro, you wear sweatpants.
You and I have been to strip clubs and we both wore jeans.
I know. I just wanted to see if I could get you to be thrown under the bus.
But
there's a joke out there that's like, like.
But I did, man. It's like, how long are you gonna have some woman grind on your dick with your zipper rubbing it against your fucking penis to where it's like, man, let's just fuck.
Dude, I got chafing already just hearing that.
But it was like they're already putting their mouth down there on your jeans, so it's like, I was single.
Okay.
It's all right.
Was she just like, oh, you're cute, and bone roller coaster?
She said I had a porno dick, and I was like,
shut up.
I don't. I was like, man. I was like, you really want my money? But it honestly didn't.
This comes from a guy who refused to spend any money at a strip club one night.
It was.
And you would bait strippers, and you'd act really flirty and really nice, and then you'd sing that song, hey, stripper ain't got my money, hey, and they just storm off all pissed.
It was.
Dude, when I heard that, I was...
Those are good times, catching them in lies.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I have kids.
I'm going to be a dentist, and I have kids.
Well, I remember to this day that stripper was like, she came up, doing her little spiel, being a car salesman, a pussy salesman. Yeah, pussy salesman.
Okay.
And woman.
That's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate.
But she was like, I just gotta get home to my son. I was like, what's your son's name? Xavier. And then later on,
the name would change.
Bait him, and then the name would change. 20 minutes later, you get her talking, and then she has a daughter named Sally, and it's like, wait a minute.
No offense, when girls.
First, I was impressed because you look good for having Xavier as your kid. He's old on the X-Men, so I was like, I was like, so your child's crippled? That's got it so.
Hey, he goes to school for the gifted. Okay,
there's anything terrible about crippled people. But that was just a good joke. Right
Yeah,
there.
but he's
Are you gonna edit this and
crippling.
take this out?
I can't freaking edit anything. I don't have any of that capability.
We're
We're just gonna load
We're
it.
on such a. It is like. How old is this? What do we got? What is it?
What's that?
What is the?
The GoPro?
Yeah, what year is it?
Oh gosh, it's a GoPro 5.
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
it's like
What are they on
5,
now?
6 years old at least.
Okay, yeah.
They're at like GoPro 20. No, they're at like GoPro like 10, I think. But yeah.
So we have it from we're watching ourselves on his phone. And when does it? If the red light blink. Does
Yeah,
it
it's being done. It's recording.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
running low on
I just gotta hit
battery.
stop and
Like,
keep
oh
going.
no, we're going.
But yeah, so I just, man, there's so many layers to that. But I would say if
You'd
you're
have to
legalize,
get.
you have to regulate it.
You have to
big time.
regulate. You'd have to.
Bodyguards
Germany
and
does
everything
it.
else.
Germany
yeah.
does
Yeah.
Amsterdam,
Yeah.
where they do. And I read this where they actually do. I think it's like monthly STD checks on the women. You know,
You
to
almost
make sure
have to
that
do
they're
daily.
clean.
You
Yeah,
almost
I know.
have to do daily.
It's like a
Jesus,
month.
like, right?
You know how long a month is if it was monthly?
I
It's
know,
like
right?
you could.
Yeah. So my point is just you. There's a lot of risks that go into
That's
that, right? So yeah, I think
Should I leave that up there to advertise?
Yeah, sure.
If
Why
someone
not?
picks us up.
Pick us up like a dirty hooker.
Listen, with the job I picked, I'm gonna have to working with fucking early
And
childhood.
I might be
until I'm
unemployed
90.
anyway, so.
Till I'm 90. So if anybody wants to pick us up and like sponsor us, that'd be pretty damn sweet. Like Big House Great Urban Whiskey, that'd be awesome. Even though I first had you, this is the first time. It's good.
Yeah,
I like
it's
it.
smooth. It's smooth.
So,
But yeah.
I'm not a big. Do you?
Are they?
And Aquafina. We're totally drinking Aquafina. I heard this is like just Detroit water.
Pretty sure it's Flint.
Flint.
Flint's water.
Give it to them. They're like, fuck this. Like I just drink.
Have you heard about St. Joe? Have you heard about St. Joe?
No.
Like St. Joe is where I did my half Ironman, right?
Right.
And it's on the west side of the state.
That's where
And
I went with you.
Yeah. You went with
yeah,
me.
yeah.
And so the really squirrely part is they have worse water than Flint, and they're not getting any national attention.
How?
I don't know.
You know
right?
what? When I went there,
it's old infrastructure, but
Mhm.
only the problem here is it's mostly, I believe, because the main lines can be replaced. Like that can probably, and again, that's a city issue.
Yeah.
But when you have lines going from the main line up to the house, and then all the pipes in the house lined with some type of byproduct lead
Right.
material, and the problem is the water coming out of the treatment facilities is so highly treated with chemicals.
Yeah.
It eats away the inside lining of the pipe leading up to the house, and then they get those particles.
Sorry, we're throwing it there, dog.
Mostly peaceful protest. Whoa, that was a rock that
Pick
just
him
got
up,
through my-
but pick him up to show.
I can't pick him up. He's a 35-pound
Well,
dog.
they should. They're just seeing that I could just be.
I'm protecting his identity.
Okay, he's protect. You know that Green's dog eats pussy.
That's actually true. I'm kind of.
I'm taking this. So we gotta have some.
I'm proud of it.
We gotta have some lighthearted conversations before we dive into your next topic.
I'd like to see the fuck count, the pussy count, the shit count. Like there's just, like oh my god, if somebody's willing to do this, go right ahead.
You're like, how did his dog eat pussy, and how does he eat pussy? And we're not talking not talking about female. I mean, not dog pussy. We're talking about human pussy.
Although he does have a really cute girlfriend next door.
Can we?
Her name's
He swings both ways, human and.
Yeah,
So
you know, hey.
if dogs fuck people, what is that called? Because if
gross. That's
if
called
humans
gross.
fuck
That's called
animals,
disgusting.
if humans fuck animals, it's bestiality.
Yeah.
So would it be humanality? I don't know. That's a good question.
That's yeah. If you kind of reverse it,
We're gonna
investigate.
our
We'll
next
get back to
podcasts are gonna be animals that decide to fuck humans.
and that is awful.
To which we will segue back
I'm
into
not gonna
how.
lie, that would be a funny skit.
To
Just
which
to
was-
see this big furry thing just going.
To which we'll segue back into his dogging and pussy. You got to leave our audience on a cliffhanger.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's a
We
certain
should have
cliffhanger.
thought that I should have brought this up later.
Yeah, no.
We're gonna go full circle somehow.
Yeah.
And come back to his dog by the end of the conversation. I'm gonna figure out how.
Oh boy. No way. No freaking way. No way.
You're like, don't you dare fucking talk
Yeah,
about my dog.
you're awful.
It's a good story.
It's a funny story, but I'm not sure if that's something I want to broadcast. Just saying.
I do.
You do. I don't.
I've already said that I fucking got a blowjob from a stripper from when I was in my 20s. So what's the...
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So...
But yeah.
Oh well.
So,
I'm
I don't
so
know.
screwed if my work ever found this.
I'm telling you, they're gonna find it. They're gonna find it. So,
Golly.
but yeah, I don't know. I just find
If
you're gonna
any of you out there, if
go right ahead, man.
how can I
You
go
drunkard.
with? How
You're
can
a
I?
drunkard.
I know, and this is just a little thing. How can I go with? I'm good with working with kids after talking about your dog eating pussy.
Oh boy, you can't. You can't. You will no longer be allowed within 500 feet of a school.
Ah.
You will be screwed.
Don't you think that should be like people should be more open and honest, like conversations like this?
Well, it all
Because
goes down to
wouldn't be as
censoring the
much
freedom of
taboo.
speech, right?
Yeah.
I agree. I think
it's
people,
like it's
because people haven't spoken freely in the better part of a decade,
because it's
right?
like
Because you know what the things we would say in the 90s, right?
Right.
Like,
which some
you know,
things needed to be addressed to
but
make
it's-
sure
it's
that
the
like you're
culture
not
that-
offending people.
yeah, it's the culture that we're
because-
propagating, right?
Right.
Because we used to say everything under the sun about everybody. Look at South Park, and I'm not trying to call them out in any kind of way in related to this
South
conversation.
Park, you fucking rock.
Yeah, they're awesome because what they do is they make jokes and they make fun of everybody,
Yeah.
right? And then you look at it and you say to yourself, okay, well, we shouldn't do gay jokes. In perfect example with Dave Chappelle, well,
Right.
we shouldn't do trans jokes.
Right.
And then Dave Chappelle does a special about
Yeah.
trans folks, and it's hilarious. You listen to the special, and he knew somebody that was, let's just face it. Watch the Dave Chappelle special because it's great and he's really good and I like what
Which
he
one
stands
was it? I
for.
can't remember
It's
which
the
one.
most recent one where Netflix did, and the fact that you have
We're plugging Dave
Comedians.
Chappelle.
he's awesome. He's awesome. Like,
right?
dude, I remember when he was in Half Baked when he was like just like I wouldn't even say starting out because he was pretty big at that point
Yeah.
too, but just not as big as he is now.
Mm-hmm.
But he was freaking hilarious, man. So my point is the First Amendment is so vitally important for people to speak their mind, right? And when you have particularly
Except
humor
when
and joke-
there's like
and this is why we've wanted to do skits because we saw Saturday Night Live and they were fucking awful.
You guys
They're fucking garbage.
suck
They're
now.
not even funny.
No, it's
like
not.
I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Like I would say if something was funny, right? Because
Right.
God knows they've made it further than I have in a comedic career by
Which
any
is
means.
good. Good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when they push this propaganda, and then they're not even funny about it. Like,
Right.
look, I'm
So have you seen
conservative,
him
but I
on-
can laugh at
have
my
you
own.
have you
right?
seen him? We'll go with Pete Davidson.
He's not funny at all. I don't find him funny at all. He was funny when he was Count Chocula, though. I will say that one skit where he
So
comes in,
there
he's
is-
like, "What? You're gonna cancel me? I'm Dracula. I like chocolate things." I was just like, "Okay, that's kind of funny. That's
You need
kind
to-
of funny."
You need to up your vampire.
Now I just sound like Count from
yeah.
Sesame Street, which is a good point because they did the propaganda on the vaccination with Big Bird, which is absolute garbage.
So, but like with him, when I've seen him outside, like I've seen his stand. Have you ever seen his stand up at all?
Pete Davidson?
Yeah.
I try to avoid that dude.
Not. It's actually pretty good.
Is it? Okay.
Which
okay.
is it's
I'll give
like-
anything a shot. If shit
it's-
makes me laugh, it makes me laugh.
It's opposite of.
And I laugh really
It's
easily.
opposite of Saturday Night Live almost.
Was it vulgar
To-
and raunchy? Is
A
it
little
like
bit,
Bob
yeah,
Saget?
you get not completely Bob Saget, but he has some good.
Damn.
He has some good skits to where
Pryor
it's like.
dead. Carlin
But that
dead.
goes.
Bob
that-
Saget healthy as a horse. Fuck! God damn it!
But that goes
seriously.
with just media in general controlling the narrative of what people are able to talk to.
Yeah.
Because like even when you hear
the
him,
less people talk
when you look
about
look at him
Right.
on Comedy Central,
Yeah.
when they do like roasts and things like that,
Yeah.
like totally fucking like polar opposite.
Yeah,
you know?
180.
It's edgy. It's
Yeah, Comedy Central's always been more edgy.
So which is good.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunately that's gotten lost like within.
And it has. And it has. And it is really, really sad.
So.
I do agree with that because when you have Saturday Night Live that pumps out nothing but the stuff that they have been, it's like nobody's watching, right? Just like the mainstream media.
Do you think that people should be able to dress up on Halloween as people of a different ethnicity?
Absolutely.
And,
anything goes. Anything
and
goes.
like
People need to just get over their bullshit.
So
Get over their
not
bullshit.
to say that the whole blackface thing.
Yeah,
that
the
was
blackface
that
you
was.
could probably say go, right?
The ill intent that was behind the original blackface is fucking terrible.
But today, there were some people that 5-10 years ago did
Jimi Hendrix
blackface.
is my favorite
Like,
musician.
for example, Jimmy Kimmel did Karl Malone.
Right.
And he was entire body blackface.
Right.
He was talking
Well,
in
it's
the
not
third
blackface.
person.
He was just in costume.
Yeah, well, no.
I would say
his
that in
whole
costume.
body was black because he had the short sleeves.
So I would say I wouldn't call that
and it was
blackface.
hilarious.
I wouldn't call that blackface. I would say
It was hilarious.
in costume. He was in costume with it because I think that.
But people take it as such
Which,
anyway.
yeah,
which I are like, okay, fine.
Which is understandable
But the fact
because
that
of unfortunately
it all
past,
comes
but,
down to
like,
what the intent is,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
you say, okay, am I trying to be funny
Right.
or am I trying to be offensive?
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was obviously trying to be funny because it
Right.
was hilarious.
Yeah.
Right? And I've always found Jimmy Kimmel funny. But a lot of the things that he says today and going along with the media and everything
Right.
else, he's gone
Which
different
I
direction.
can't.
But I find it hypocritical that he doesn't at least pay tribute to say, look, I did this in the past. I'm not going to apologize for it.
Because
it was funny.
there was no
right?
ill intent.
There was no ill intent.
It's like how
I'm not going to apologize. Because as soon as you
he said he
apologize,
dressed up as
the
Karl
mob
Malone.
owns you. What's that?
dressed
He
up-
dressed up as Karl
How
Malone.
the fuck are you gonna dress up as Karl Malone if? Here's the thing. So I'm getting at. Like I love Jimi Hendrix.
That's like
Favorite musician.
You know, that's just
I
like
could never go to him. Go as
that's
him
just
as
like
Halloween.
that's just like Jason
Because,
is
like, it looked
offended
like
when a hockey guy puts a hockey mask
Yeah.
on. Oh, you
Right. I
you
can't
you
go-
just did a Jason face.
So
Can't do that.
I
Oh my
like-
god.
So the first time I
bullshit.
heard Jimi Hendrix was
Yeah.
when I was 10. That's early. Loved him. Never could go as him.
Were you high when you came out of your mom's vagina? Jesus Christ, 10?
Well, I didn't have
And
a
Hendrix?
dad, so maybe.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay.
Well, no, he was on drugs.
Seriously,
like-
yeah, it's hilarious.
But like it's funny though. It's like for me, like if you go as somebody and you're in costume and there's no
Yeah.
ill intent in it, it's
Yeah.
like isn't that paying homage to somebody like that?
Yeah,
you-
and I've always said,
Right,
when
like-
it comes to art, particularly comedy, imitation is the best form of flattery, right? There's
Robert-
when it comes to music,
Yeah.
when it comes to comedy, just art in general, like imitation is the best form of
Right.
flattery.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many people, and I mean, I'm a huge drum fan, I drum myself, and you look at what, say, Buddy Rich did,
Mhm.
and then you look at what everybody else that was a rock drummer that did,
Yeah.
you can see one variation or another in each of their styles that you can circle
Mm-hmm.
right back to Buddy Rich.
Right.
Best drummer that's ever lived, and I think Neil Peart is the best drummer ever, right?
Ever?
But Buddy Rich
Yeah.
is better.
Yeah.
He was natural. He was fluidic.
Yeah.
Neil was a little bit stiffer. It wasn't until his later career, but his
When I
creativity
saw-
was off the charts.
so,
off the charts.
when
And
I
his
saw
talent
Rush-
was off the charts.
So when I
So
I heard
but my
Rush
point is
before-
art imitation is a form of flattery.
Right,
Period.
it is.
You know. Yeah. Yeah.
So I should be able to dress up as Jimi Hendrix in full. But I'm not.
Do the white afro. Do the afro.
It's just gonna look like I have pubes on my fucking head, man. It's gonna look like my. It's gonna look like my penis. It's just like look
You're
at there's
gonna
a
look like
bunch
an
of
albino. You're
skin
gonna just
and
look like
then
an albino black
some
guy.
dark
That's it.
hair.
That's it.
It's gonna be terrible.
But
I'm gonna
you know-
look like the Jimi Hendrix
but
of the
we-
skin disease Michael Jackson had.
we
I
want
was just-
so low. Coming to America, best movie ever. Coming to America 2 on Amazon is also really funny too. by the
Did
way.
you like that? Did
Oh,
you,
dude,
it
you
was
and I
good.
were rolling on the floor. We
It
watched
was
it
good.
together. Remember that?
Yeah, I know. So
I thought
did
that
it
was
fall
hilarious.
flat at some?
No,
Was it slow?
No.
Okay.
That whole
At some
movie
parts,
was hilarious.
You want to know what I was so waiting for, and if it's a spoiler for those fuckers that haven't seen it yet, I don't give two shits because like
Spoiler alert.
you
just
guys
a minute.
should have fucking seen this. Like I was waiting so long to see Sexual Chocolate, and like they finally happen at the end, and that made my fucking day.
The best was behind the curtain at
Made
the
my
church,
day.
had the hot tub. That was freaking hilarious. That just made my day.
So.
Oh yeah, they definitely played homage to the original
Mm-hmm.
while really doing something new. I just
Right.
thought that movie was just genius. It was hilarious. Like Arsenio Hall and all those guys, they're so funny. Eddie Murphy, oh dude, awesome.
Yeah.
So it just,
You remember Eddie Murphy as Buckwheat? Did you ever see that one?
oh god, was that when he was on Saturday Night Live?
Looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for love.
Dude, Eddie Murphy is one of the originals, man. I'm telling you, he was just funny as hell, man. I can't go back to specifics, but just anytime he's on camera and he's trying to be funny,
Right.
he is fucking funny.
Right.
And it is just awesome, you know?
So,
So, what?
I have a top piece,
Alright, spit it out.
but I don't know if we should wait to the end or...
Well, I think this has already gone pretty long. We're already an hour and 9 minutes.
We're an hour and 9
Yeah,
minutes,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you think that's too long for
I think it's
people?
too long right
weird.
now. Maybe. I don't
Really?
know. Yeah.
Unless this part like picked it up and people are watching, or they shut it off because it's just dick and fart jokes.
I know, right? Like,
But,
dick and
like-
fart jokes, it's like, oh no, we're done. Bye-bye.
Vampires eating pussy.
We're down to the one guy who's fell asleep at his fucking computer, like,
So,
or his phone.
we'll should we go to this topic next time? Then?
Yeah, we'll go next time.
So-
yeah.
Can we go with where I was gonna go
Yeah, you can say what our
Move.
next topic will be, or what we want to go with.
right now?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, vampires eating pussy when women are on their periods. Like so.
That's a skit we wanted to do.
There,
That was
there,
a skit
that
we wanted
is,
to
and
do.
I think we should still do it.
Yeah.
So like this, so by all means,
This
you
is
get
the
like
very
a,
raw start of something
So-
that we're going to attempt to do, which is we have a lot of ideas for skits
yeah.
and comedic.
We can't give it
because-
away either.
No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say, hey, there's a couple of
Yeah.
skits where we think we can do that. We think we can probably be funny. No, we know we can be funnier than
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live. I'm not a great actor, but I got material. We'll probably find
We'll
people
find
that are
some
willing to do
people.
some stuff
Yeah.
that are
Some
good.
hookers, we could actually employ them for a regular job. Be good,
Stick
right?
my dog on
I
him, we'll be
mean,
satisfied.
Not that the selling your pussy isn't a job already, but I'm sure
It's
you
an
need a break
honest
from
living.
it being
It's
beaten.
honest living.
You might need a break from it being beaten up so hard.
Wrong.
So
Absolutely wrong.
with our conversations, we're gonna go over serious points because it is
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
going on in today's societies, and you're gonna both get.
yeah.
You are, in general. How long have we known each other?
Oh,
For
20
over
years at
20
least,
years,
yeah,
over
yeah.
20 years,
Yeah.
and you are more conservative than I am. I fall
Yeah, you're
more
more
on the liberals.
libertarian. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
fall on the liberal side, but I don't. I hate getting pigeonholed.
Yeah, you're starting to
As,
get red
like,
pilled. You're getting
I
red
am-
pilled a little bit, like being honest.
Like I'm that.
And
I'm that
we're not
person.
talking
If
dropping
there was
acid or
a red
nothing.
pill and blue pill, I would have cut it up and took both of them. And be like, fuck you guys.
Ooh, you like to mix, like the
Like-
uppers and
I like-
downers.
yeah,
You
I like that- I
naughty,
like a good
naughty
cocktail.
SOB.
So back to vampires and eating pussy. So my big thing is on movies and vampire movies.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
always looking for blood, and like if there was ever,
Yeah,
like why don't they just eat women out on their periods?
I do agree.
Like,
You
it's-
know, I mean,
it'd
I've
be
seen enough
so
vampire
much-
movies to where it'd be like, you're saving lives.
You're saving lives.
Yeah, you're saving lives.
You're
you know?
saving like
You know,
it'd be
vampire
so much
lives
easier.
matter, right?
Like-
that just.
It's 7 days. Like fuck
7
me,
days.
you got 7 days of blood clots and all other kind of fucking gelatin shit.
And
that
not to
comes out
mention,
of
they
them.
probably get extra powers as a vampire given
Right.
that it's fetal material.
There you go.
Right? I mean,
Boom.
seriously.
It's like
You know?
I never
Yeah.
understood that. Well, I never did, but like I just thought about this recently.
Maybe it's just got a really
It's
bad
like-
tang to it.
It's
I
like
don't know.
how much more easier would be just to first supposedly if you go traditional vampires they're
Yeah.
in the persuasion, they can persuade,
Mhm.
right? It's
Okay.
like obviously get some pussy, stick your dick in that shit, and like eat them out. Like that's it. It's a win-win. There's no mess on the neck.
Yeah.
Like there's no proof, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting the logic.
Vampires could probably save on their dental plan because like you're not biting into people all the time.
That's true. You go a little too deep and you get bone and you chip one of those incisors, you're
Terrible.
done.
Done.
Medical bills up that
So-
yin yang, man.
Like, I never understood. I just questioned that part. Because if I was a vampire...
Yeah, I hear you.
And like you're like, this guy's just being a jackass right now. But it's just a funny thing. It's like if I was a vampire, I'd eat pussy all the time. Like there's
He'd be like, oh yeah, it's that time of the month.
Google really quick how many females are in the world.
In China, not very many.
They limit that shit.
All right. Well, we're gonna end it here.
We're gonna do this really quick. We're gonna look up how many women.
We're gonna end it here though. We'll get back to you on that number. But this is Rest Spoiled Bastards, and until next time, I'll tell you.
We'll see.
We're just gonna get crazier.
And be fucking smart and be kind to each other. All right.
And be funny, please. Thank you.